Rogers, and welcome to Curtain Call. And I am so pleased to have cast and crew from Romeo and Juliet here. It starts March the 14th. Get your tickets because it's going to be sold out. It's a great show. Well, first of all, why don't you introduce yourselves and tell what part you have in the show, or Jackie, you do more than most.
So since you threw the bone, I'll let you go first.
Okay. I'm Jacqueline Youm, like Zoom, but I go by Jackie. And I'm the director of Romeo and Juliet, as well as Juliet. And I'm also the lighting designer.
Oh, okay, great. I didn't know that.
She wears many hats.
Yeah, she does. Oh, I thought the list would be a lot longer, actually.
I do everything.
Hi, my name is Matthew J. Murray. I am playing Romeo. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So good to have you all here.
Thank you.
I guess, why don't you tell them a little bit about why you're doing this play and what you did with this play, because it's your adaptation.
Yes. So this play is still going to be the original William Shakespeare. I've just moved some scenes around and cut some scenes and changed it so that the focus is not so much on the tragedy, the love of Romeo and Juliet and the tragedy, but also on the community that surrounds them, their families, and the fact that at the end, love conquers all, and love creates reconciliation for the families and the whole community by the end of it, which I think is very important, very powerful, especially in these times of so much turmoil and so many people are divided in this country and in this world. And I want to bring a story where people, are able to forgive and move forward in love.
Yeah, a lot of unrest, And I think you've done that for sure. I sat in the front row last night most of the time, and it was very good, just awesome. and it's more than just words. There's also music,
yes,
singing,
yes, there's songs,
a little bit of dancing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's quite the thing. And Matthew, tell us about yourself and why you got involved with Romeo and Juliet.
Well, my name is Matthew J. Murray. I've been acting since 2019. I was originally going to Prince George's Community College for culinary.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they have a great culinary program. But then I was going past a billboard that had a post about their upcoming play, which was called Bounce, which is another adaptation of another story about Peter Rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, let me just go for that. And went to the audition. And ever since then, I fell in love with the whole process of acting.
Oh, that's great.
So I immediately switched out of culinary. Because I don't like working in people's restaurants.
Yeah.
But I joined this project because I love Shakespeare. My first Shakespearean project was in New Hampshire, actually. They did, there's a theater called Theater Up, and they did Midsummer's Night's Dream. And I auditioned for that, and they gave me the role Oberon. Fell in love ever since. I hated it at first. Hated it at first.
Different language.
different language.
Definitely a different language.
Yeah. But I fell in love with it. Yeah.
Well, you guys are so good, and you do have so many lines. It's amazing. And they flow out of your mouths like it's just like honey. You know what I mean? It's so easy. So easy. So I have noticed lately that you two do a lot of things together. And we'll be doing it in the future. Isn't there another play that you're in that you're coming up on Silver Spring?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're in Blues for an Alabama Sky at Silver Spring Stage.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's great. It's going to be wonderful. So for this play, is there anything for you, Matthew, that you've had to work on? Oh my gosh, the fight scenes. Wait till you see the fight scenes. What's been difficult for you? I can't imagine anything has been, but it's a lot of work.
Well, definitely, what is the story that we're trying to tell, especially with this language, and understanding what Shakespeare wrote down, and okay, how do I interpret that versus what's the actual meaning, and trying to find a good balance between those two. Other than that, the singing.
Oh, yes,
the singing. Oh my God, I am not. Let me tell you a funny story. I was actually when I went to New Hampshire, it was actually for a touring company called Tiger. And they had me, for the audition, they had me do a monologue and a song. So I started with my monologue. They loved the monologue. They was like, that was really good. Very impressed by that, yeah. And then they had me sing. And what I sung was What a Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong.
Uh-huh.
And I did it. And they was like, this was over Zoom. And they was just like, okay. There's a voice there. But luckily they saw something else in me and they gave me a shot.
Oh, that's great.
And I was there for 2 years.
That's great. Mm-hmm. So you traveled around?
Yes, in the New England Conference.
Okay.
Traveled around, just going to different public schools, using theater, dancing, and singing to educate kids about empathy, how to stop bullying.
Oh, great.
And, just showing compassion.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. And you've been involved with something like that too recently, haven't you? Aren't you going out to schools, Jackie?
Oh, well, I just finished a show called Out of the Vineyard about freedom suits, slaves who were suing their masters for their freedom. And it was this time geared towards high schools in the area, in the Prince George's County area. And so that was beautiful, beautiful experience and really well received. So.
Great. What has been the most What's been the most difficult thing and the most happiest thing that's going on with this?
That's a
with
great
Romeo
question.
and Juliette?
Yeah.
The most difficult thing, as the director and playing one of the leads, is making sure that it all comes together, that it all makes sense, right? The whole story, as well as all of the players, as well as the relationships between not just the cast, but also the crew, and making sure we're all on the same page. I think that has been the most difficult, just making sure that I'm not just taking care of the forest, right? The big picture, but also of the details and making sure that we are being intentional in everything that we do. It's a monstrous job.
But you've been very collaborative about it.
Thanks.
Very flexible. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
It's a cast of thousands and a crew of thousands too, How many assistant directors do you have?
2 assistant directors. Exactly.
But I have just personally loved the whole cast and the crew because everybody's just so open and kind. And I think Jackie is the only person I knew before this. I'm thinking, So it's been a wonderful experience.
I'm glad.
So so the difficulty was singing. What is your happy?
When we start with my happy,
yeah.
Like you said, just the different people in this production that I get just to play with, do these different scenes with, and just outside of the scenes, we just having conversations about just everyday life. If it wasn't for this play that Jackie's put on, I would have never met you. So I'm just very grateful for everybody that I get to work with.
Yeah.
So that's my happy.
A nice group of people.
Yeah. Not to mention the fight scenes. I ain't gonna hold you. I like the fight scenes.
No, you're so good at them. It worries me just a little bit. I said to her, maybe I shouldn't be sitting in the front row, especially when the glass went, the plastic glass.
Right, exactly.
So that was good. So what age do you think this would be great for? Not little ones necessarily, but
no. But I believe that Romeo and Juliette is introduced in middle schools, and so I would say, come on down, middle school and up if you'd like. Yeah, I think there are some intimate moments, of course, and there's some fighting, there's some violence, and so I would say use your better judgment for sure. But they have to read this in many schools,
right?
So
right. It's definitely a wonderful story, and it needs to be continued to be told. Actually,
yes.
We get off on other tracks and don't get this. And this, we've all had a great time with getting costumes together, haven't we?
Yes. And can you believe the story is being banned in some states?
Is that right?
South? Yes, that's actually how I first got involved but I got cast in a benefit reading of Romeo and Juliette a year ago. Our production assistant, Valerie Cornelia, cast me as Juliet. because it's being banned in some southern states. And she wanted to, do a benefit reading and send it to these schools so that these students could see it.
Okay.
And I had never thought I was a Juliette. I had never identified. I've played Mercutio live before, and I love Romeo. I played him virtually.
Is that right?
I love him. But I was like, I'm not a Juliette. This doesn't make sense. But okay. And I fell in love with the role and was like, okay, we need to figure out how to bring this live.
Yeah.
And for a longer run to more people.
Both of you, the range of emotions that you go through, and you can see it. You're not going, oh, she's acting like this or he's acting. You can actually see it in your eyes, your soul. It's just wonderful. And I have to say at this moment that I play Romeo's mother. He calls me Mom. I call him Sonny. So, well, it's been great having you both here. It opens March the 14th.
Yes.
Runs for 4 weekends.
Yes.
And we have Sunday afternoon shows for the 4 weekends. And the last weekend, we even have a Saturday afternoon show. So get your tickets at laurelmillplayhouse.org. They are so reasonable. We really do a lot for our price, I think. And it's comfy, intimate seating.
Yes.
And there'll be an intermission and snacks. So
really comfy in the front row.
Yeah. I love the front row myself. I think it's the greatest part to be seen. So stay tuned, and we're going to have some of the crew that's doing the behind the scenes work. So we'll be right back.
36 years, it's a long, sometimes it feels like an eternity, and sometimes it feels like it was yesterday. Saw an ad like, Laurel, that I was coming from Virginia. I said, so let's give it a try. Came in, had the interview, thought this is a nice little town. This seems like this will be a great opportunity. So started working in the Department of Parks and Recreation as a program specialist.
So we're back with Curtain Call, and we have some very important crew people with us now. Very important for the safety-wise and stability-wise, I could say. So why don't you give us your name and what your particular role is?
I'm Celine Jones-Cameron, but I go by CJ, and I am the fight and intimacy coordinator. I help everyone make sure that actors need to be safe. That's my main thing. And to do a show multiple times a day under circumstances, whether it's fighting, holding hands with someone, or very simplistic things, they mean something to someone as a person, but how do we separate that from you as the actor and the character? So we have to blend them all together. And that's my main thing, is making sure everyone is safe and everyone is comfortable with these things and talking it through. I really like to ask the actors, what do you want to do? It's not about what I want to do. I'm here to help you achieve your goal and the director's goal.
Right. A very, very important. It makes a better production all around if everybody feels comfortable and safe. How about you, Katie?
Hi, I'm Katie Ann. I am the set designer. Like what CJ said, for me, what's most important is also actor safety. I would say in a slightly different manner. I'm not a fight and intimacy coordinator, but I'm making sure that things that are built, no one's going to get hurt, nothing's blocking the way, and kind of juggling the needs of the actors with also the design ideas of the director and what we think is possible and not possible given the space. I would say smaller theaters really challenge your creativity in a very good way. I really like the challenge. It forces you to think outside the box. So it's been an absolute delight trying to get things to work.
Great. We are so glad to have you all, because you guys are wonderful. So CJ, when you were talking, it made me think about something. The intimacy choreographers have just come in recently, haven't they?
Yes.
What would you say, last 10 years maybe? Or?
Yeah, the last 10 years. I didn't know anything about them until about I think after 2020. And that was a very interesting moment for me too, because I was like, oh my gosh, that is right. There are moments when you're doing a scene where a director's you have to kiss this person. Or there's moments where they're saying you have to take off your clothes for a scene, and that's jarring. And to know as like for an actor, you feel that you have to do that because it's like you don't want to be considered like not willing to do the role. People will mark you down as like, oh, you're not a willing participant. It's like, no, people have different lives and experience a lot of things. And I know talking to like people who been acting for a long time and before then were realizing, oh wow, I was put in uncomfortable situations that ruined my love for theater because of this one director or moment that I had to do that I was placed in a very vulnerable moment. Like my job is to make sure that that vulnerable moment is supported. I want to make sure that you feel safe. I want to make sure your partner feels safe. It's like, yeah, your partner's cool with it, but you're not cool with it, or vice versa. Maybe the partner's not cool with it. Maybe you're cool with someone touching your shoulder or touching your like private areas, but that doesn't mean the character next to you or the person that you're siding with is going to be okay with that. So we're here to make sure like, okay, let's change it. I'm more of like the vessel or the safe space to have that opportunity for people and actors to actually say, I don't want to, no, thank you, no, like a straight up no. And I hear that and am able to communicate that back to the director and say, this is what I think we should do. This is what I feel that is best for it, whether you as the actor don't feel super comfortable saying that out loud. And I know a lot of actors feel that way, and I say it all the time. Tell me no. I'm not gonna be hurt. And I try to incorporate that. Like, I'm not gonna be hurt if you told me no. I will change for you.
And don't you also, like some people have never kissed on stage. I know my first kiss on stage was kind of awkward. I just felt awkward. Don't you kind of guide them in the direction of making it look good?
Yes, we can guide them in the direction of making it look good. We can also guide them in the direction where there's no lip contact at all. As long as it looks good from the angles of the stage and all that, that's what the goal is. Because some people are like, I don't feel comfortable, I have a significant other at home. Or I don't feel comfortable, like this is my first kiss and I don't feel comfortable doing that. Like all that information is going to be told to me, and that won't be told to anybody else, but I'll say, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Because now I have the authority to say, this is what we're doing, and we're not changing it.
Right. Oh, that's great. That's
what I wanted to do.
Yeah, that is great. Because people do feel they don't want to say anything, you know. And sometimes they do, and they do the kiss without the actual kiss, but then you can just tell they're not kissing, you know. So that's great too. That's wonderful. Yeah. So you keep people safe, and you keep people safe. We've had fun with the bed, haven't we?
Oh, yes. I would say for set design reasons, it's always nice to test things yourself. And even though when we first constructed the bed, I was like, well, it works for me. If someone doesn't feel safe or if they don't like it, we'll change it immediately. It's not something I'm gonna argue with an actor about. Like, I'm not gonna tell them, oh, it's fine, you'll be fine. I'm going to say, like, what would make you feel safer? So in the case of the bed, it was screwing more of the slats down just so that they weren't sliding underneath the mattress, right? Even though no one's probably gonna get hurt, people are uncomfortable with the idea of like just sliding around on a bed. So screwing everything together solved that problem. And so, for example, with the balcony that's built, even though like I can stand on it, like my dad and I stood on it together, it will also come down to once we put it on the stage and the actors stand on it, how do they feel about it? What do they want changed? Do they want a little bit of glow tape to let them know where the steps are so they don't trip?
Oh, yeah, good idea.
Things like that to just make sure everyone stays safe. Like the worst case scenario is something breaks, someone gets hurt, someone trips. So a lot of making sure that everything is double checked with them and they're okay with it.
That's great. So as a set designer, you're building, you put the bed together and made it, you probably twice built it now. But are you also, do you do the set dressing too as a set designer? Okay.
Yes, sometimes that will fall into props person, but for this show, so not just the design of the set, but also things like flower arrangements, picking out colors of bedding, picking out what color certain things should be is also falling under this. The idea is to go for a very like ethereal garden kind of landscape. So making sure we have lots of flowers, vines, that kind of like dreamy, romantic vibe.
I wanted to tell you that when Juliette is standing on the balcony and that, what do you call it, with the flowers on it? It's a frame or...
Yes.
Yeah, a frame and there's flowers on it. So she has this duster that has like orange in it. And when she stands on that balcony with that blue light, it picks up the color of those flowers. It looks beautiful. It's just, everything just kind of glows, so... Good choices.
Thank you. Yes, my dad used to do theater and lighting professionally, and so we stood in the back and like talked through all the flower colors together to make sure I was picking things that did not wash the actors out, but also what you could see in different lighting. Right.
Well, that is great. Well, you guys are very, very important to us and to many other people, because I'm sure you've done a lot, and I'm sure you have too. So we so appreciate you. And we're going to be opening soon. It's so exciting. Yay. It's a lot of rehearsals, a lot of time. So thank you both again. And be sure you go to laurelmillplayhouse.org and buy your tickets. They're $15 for seniors and children and active military and members of the American Legion post 60. And $20 general admission. And it's well worth it. Comfy seats, intimate. You can't ask for more. And every seat is like front row. That's one of our mottos. So thank you, and we'll be back again later, probably next month, and we'll be interviewing people from Rent, because the show after this one is Rent. So take care, and thank you for watching.